Okay, so here's the setup. We have the Atmo 1/2-inch hoses, 6-footers. On this end they have 1/4-inch connectors, straight. And we have the VCT for the gauge. There's the gauge, there's the timer. And everything has Nylog on it, even the fittings that aren't being used. Everything has Nylog on it. Same thing over here. We have the 3/8 hookups. They're 1/2-inch hoses, but they're 3/8 hookups. This one is 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. And again, all of this, everything has Nylog on it, even if it's not being used. And so there you see it right there. The coupling, everything's tight. Got brand new oil in there. There's old oil, new oil. So this is about take 5. And so I've pulled 5 or 6 vacuums on this tank already and purged the hoses and cleaned the hoses. I don't know what it was, but you know, I don't know if you can really see that real well, but because of the glare. But the first couple of runs of oil was pretty dark and black, and this one here is not. I mean, it's not clean, obviously, but it's pretty close. And I think that's, you know, residual stuff from manufacturing coming out of the hoses and the parks, maybe even out of the pump itself. I'm not sure, but anyway, this will be the number 6 vacuum on this tank and these hoses and everything. Well, not the hoses, but you know, everything else. So today we have conditions are. See if I can get this shot. 32.3% relative humidity and 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit in the rat shack. If you want to look it up on the psych chart, be my guest. So what I'm going to do is mount the camera, turn the timer and the pump on, and we'll watch it. We're racing to 500 microns. So I have the blue vac there. You can see her. How is that a focus? Anyway, she's registering high pressure right now, and she's set up to alarm at 500 microns. So we're gonna do it. Cool. Get her done. As you can see, it's dark now. I pulled, I don't know, maybe 20 vacuums, and what I found is, I'll show them in a second, but these connectors right here, you see my finger, the JV female soft coupling, those things really have to be, you really got to baby those and get them good and tight and snug, and make sure you got, you know, oil on them or Nylog, because they leak. I mean, they don't leak if they're tight and done right, but you bump them, you spin them, and bam, you got a leak. So, been averaging about between 4 minutes and 10 seconds and 4 minutes and, well, the longest was 5:36, but I think that was a leak. So between 4:10 and 4 450, so between 4 minutes and 10 seconds and 4 minutes and 50 seconds. And on with the long hoses and the short hoses, well, I'm not going to say it yet because you're going to see the video. Two minutes, 45 seconds, 790 microns. Going to be on target for another 4 minutes and maybe 10-15 seconds. Let's see. I say 4:15. Maybe not. Oh. Come on, baby, go down. .336, 600 microns. Alarm. Now it's set. We gotta have the alarm, man, because that's cool. Oh, it's gonna go 4:10, 12. Oh, the time was a little off. .45. I love that gauge, man. That is just the coolest thing ever. So 445 to 500. Like I said, it's been around 410, 415 on the low end, and the high end about 445. So pretty good. Alright, I'm going to turn it off, reconfigure, and reshoot. Alright, so we're re-rigged. What we have is the 1/2-inch hoses that I had special made, and they have 1/4-inch connectors on one end that are at a 45-degree angle, and then they have 1/2-inch connectors on this end, and you can see that I did away with the MegaFlow manifold as well because it doesn't have two 1/2-inch connectors. So this is just a 1/2-inch flare T, same hose to connect the pump up. Got fresh oil. The tank was open, been sitting open for 4 or 5 minutes. You can see there the blue vac is registering high pressure. Valves are open. Everything's ready. So we are going to hook her up and let her rip. Now, these 1/2-inch hoses are 3 feet versus the other hoses were 6 feet. And they have the same 1/4-inch connector on one end, except mine are 45s. And instead of having 3/8 on this end like the Atmo hoses do, these have 1/2-inch. So will it make a difference? The math says it will. Let's see how big of a difference it makes. Alright, so we're going to get it cranked up here. I'm going to have this. Oh, did it start? No, okay. Get the button here. Alright, here we go. So you can see the vacuum gauge there, it's not registering anything yet. And that's one of the reasons I do like to have a rough vacuum gauge on my vacuum pump, so I can see that work is being done. Easy enough if you use the MegaFlow manifold with the board and tube gauges in it, it'll show it. Or if you get the vacuum tree like I have without the gauges, you can put a rough vacuum gauge on it just to show your rough vacuum, to show that you're actually doing work. Give it enough time to get a feel for when it should be registering on the blue vac anyway. It's up to you. It's nice to know. It sucks to go 15 or 20 minutes pulling a vacuum and then come to find out you've got a coupling you forgot to solder or something like that. You didn't, and you've been waiting for 15 minutes for it to register. So I don't remember what the old times were, but we're almost at 1300 microns for 2 minutes. And we're blew past it. It'll be interesting to see. Set the alarm on that thing again. So conductance speed. The conductance ratio is dependent on the inside diameter of the hose, and the actual flow or the speed is a formula of the conductance ratio and the length. So you can see here we're almost at 700 microns. Probably beat it before 3 minutes. So length plays a pretty major role, as well as diameter. Diameter, I think, plays the bigger role. Length is secondary. So depending on what you're using now and what type of work you do, if you're using 1/4-inch hoses that are 5 foot long, then 5 foot or 6 foot 1/2-inch hoses are going to be a vast improvement. And 3 foot hoses, 3 foot 1/2-inch hoses are going to be even a bigger improvement over what you're using now. So it just depends on your needs, how close you can actually get the pump to the work. If you're doing racks or big chillers or something like that, it just all depends. So we are approaching 3.5 minutes, and it's going to be real close. 500 microns at 3 minutes and 38 seconds. Let's watch it go down to 400. I don't remember what the old numbers were. I'll put them up when I edit the video. But I bet it's close. Again, you can see that the drop rate is much less supposed to get to 400. So 400 microns at 435. Okay, since we did the original test at 200 microns back a couple years ago, I decided to go ahead and let this one run down to 200. And as you can see, we're at 203, 202.8 microns at 19 minutes. And, we were at 250 microns at 11 minutes. And it's taken, 8 minutes to drop this far. So, very likely we are in transitional flow. Once you account for all the variables, which, we can't. We could, but we ain't going to, because I'm not a mathematician. I'm just an HVAC tech. So 200 microns almost at 19.5 minutes. So the original times were 32 minutes, I think, and 36 minutes. So, we've cut, even coming, from that, we've cut, 15 minutes off of it. I mean, that's a pretty substantial savings, and I'll do the math and see exactly what it comes out to. But there you see, we've reached 200 microns in under 20 minutes. And if you look up here, right there, that blue vac gauge is temperature compensated. It's displaying 98.3 degrees. This is my testo. See the bottom number down there, it says 97.2. And the probe for that is right behind the blue vac gauge. You can see it, you can't see it sticking out, but anyway, it's right there. So very close, within about a degree of each other. Pretty cool stuff. And so there you have it, 200 microns in just under 20 minutes for the TES 8 with half-inch hoses. Also wanted to mention this. See, my ball valves here are slightly, they're not 100% open like that. They're just a little bit open. And the reason for that is what happens is when we go back up here and zoom out, I'll show you. So when you close these ball valves off, you trap a little bit of atmosphere inside the port, inside the ball, and then watch the gauge when I open it up. You see it? So when I go to close it, see the vacuum level rises a little bit. It doesn't take much for it to get back down because it's not a whole lot of volume, but just something to keep mindful of, so that that could also be one reason for the bump. When you close that valve and you open that little bit up, that little bit of atmosphere to the vacuum, then it's going to register on the gauge. Especially the blue vac gauge is really going to show it. So just one other thing to kind of be aware of there. Keep those ball valves cracked a little bit during the evacuation and have a more pure evacuation. Woo! Holy hoses, Batman. So what I did is, you can see I had to reconfigure the tank here a little bit. I took that fitting out. I put a 3/8 fitting in there, and then I stuck my 3/8 by half-inch hose on there, and on there I got a half-inch T with 3/8 reducers on there to the 3/8 hoses, and then I had to add some extenders over here, so because the valve core tools wouldn't hook up to the tank because the big fat hose was in the way. So flared up some ends, bada bing bada boom, valve core tools, there's the gauge, there's the big honking T, and then here is the full mega flow manifold. So you see I have, these hoses are backwards, right, because I don't have anything to get to a 1/4 inch here. So I hooked the 3/8 side here, and I hooked the 1/4 inch side up here. Normally these would be reversed. So I got, where was I? Oh, right here. So we got a 1/4 inch with a 3/8 hose, and we got a 1/4 inch with a 3/8 hose, and we have a 3/8 with a half-inch hose, and we have on this side a 3/8 with a half-inch hose, and then of course this is the half-inch hose that goes right down there. And then I got right here the timer and everything set up. So I'm going to put the camera on the tripod and hook her up. So we saw the times for the Appion 6-foot hoses, which are those blackens you see right there, and then for my half-inch hoses, which are down there in the bag. And now we're doing the Mega Flow, which is all 4 hoses. And look, you still got some ports right there. You could put another 3/8 hose and another 1/4 inch hose if you wanted to. So this is the Mega Flow, and we're going to see how long it takes to get 500 microns. Be right back. Alright, here we go. Everything's tight, got fresh oil. 3, 2, 1. Bring the focus. Gotta shake the man thing. Yep, we're good to go. So yeah, I say, well, I can't say because I've already pulled a couple of these vacuums, so I'm not gonna guess because I already know. And I missed it last time anyway. But you're gonna be surprised. So the fastest time I ever had was like 4 minutes and 12 seconds. And it averaged about 440, 445 for the 6-foot hoses. And average for the half-inch hoses that are 3-foot was like 3 minutes and 38 seconds. The 3 minutes and 38 seconds, yeah, to 500 microns. Those are the videos y'all saw. I picked the ones that were kind of the average. So we're getting ready to punch 2,000 microns at about a minute and a half. Holy moly, look at it go. The mega flow. That's what they call it. Mega flow. When you have the need for speed, get the mega flow. Oh, Dave, that guy's pretty creative. Coming up with all them slogans and stuff. Dadgummit. I hope you're duly impressed. I know there's a couple hours worth of videos, but it's been 4 days for me. Well, actually, this is day 5. Well, I didn't really work on it Sunday. I was at my mom's house. Look at it go. Look at it go. We're going to do 800 microns, about 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Look at that. Dang. Dang. This might be the fastest time yet. Show my notes there. It'll be close between this one and the last one. So fastest time so far was 3 minutes and 38 seconds with my short hoses on here. We're going to blow that out of the water. It looks like it's going to be close. 550 microns at 2 minutes and 57 seconds. Three minutes and 18 seconds. To 500 microns. Woo, dang. 3 minutes and 18 seconds. That's about 4 seconds faster than my last one. Check out my little note card right here to write it all down on. So we get to 400. The fastest on 400 was 4 minutes and 35 seconds. That's with the 3-foot half-inch hoses. Going, going. Oh, I only got about a minute worth of DVD left. I think we can beat it. I know we can beat it. We're gonna beat it. We just got seconds left. Close. It's gonna be close. Oh, virtually the same. We're gonna go 439 to 400 microns. So the half-inch hoses did 400 and 435, and this one did 400 microns and 439 or whatever it was. So pretty close to the same, but it smoked it to 500 microns. 338 was the best time so far, so. That's it, man. That's it. That's it from the Rat Shack. We're done. No more vacuum. Well, no more vacuum until I do more vacuum. So, big fat hoses. Nylog. Big fat hoses, Nylog, good pumps, clean oil. When you want to do it fast, that's what you need. So anyway, I'll be back on with a few closing thoughts, and then we're going to wrap this video series up. Hope you learned something. If not, at least you got to laugh at me. Later. Next thing is, when you get these big fat 1/2 inch hoses and 3/8 hoses like this, and you're using Nylog on there, there's a lot of surface area, and the Nylog is pretty gummy. And what will happen is you'll pull those O-rings out because they're put together, they're fit dry. So what you do is you just take these bad boys out like so. You see that one's already been had Nylog put on it. This one hasn't though. Right. So see the difference in the two? One's wet, one's dry. So what I do is I just take the Nylog, stick it on here, just a drop, just that much is all you need. Run it around like so, and then stick it back down in your hose. And what that allows is two things. It's not going to pull out, and you don't have a dry fitting in there, a dry connection. So you'll be able to have better vacuums. Dirt and grime won't get down inside in between the walls, compromise your vacuum. Do that on especially the big ones. I mean, I do it on all of them, but especially the 1/2 inch and the 3/8 hoses. I do this stuff because I love it. I like the math and the science and the physics behind being an HVAC technician, and especially when I can find something like this that really makes a big impact in what we do. Both in terms of doing a better job and in terms of making more money. If it takes me an hour to pull a vacuum and I can do it in 4 minutes or 10 minutes or even 15 minutes, then I'm going to make more money, or I'm going to be more competitive and I'll be able to do more jobs. It translates into the same thing. I'm going to make more money in the end. Looking at things like the TES 8 from the outside looking in, it really does seem to be over-engineered when you start looking at it. But the more you learn about vacuum and the principles of vacuum, it's not over-engineered. In fact, it's because it's a departure from the conventional thinking that makes it so good. Changing your oil on the fly, multiple ports for hose hookups, the overpressure chamber that allows you to not only clear debris and stuff out that may be in there, but also captures the residual oil out of the system so that it doesn't fill your vacuum pump oil reservoir up. It's lightweight, 28 pounds I think, and it really is a good overall vacuum pump. And I always say it, smaller pumps and bigger hoses, but the fact of the matter is, when you have a pump like this, you can take advantage of the higher CFMs because of the multiple ports that you have available here. We saw our 1/2 inch hoses will flow 5.73 CFM, and the truth is we're only going to get about 2.8 CFM out of our 1/4 inch access fittings, out of the Schrader valves, but that's each, 2.8 CFM each. So, by using 2 1/2 inch hoses or 2 3/8 hoses, we can take advantage of all the CFM potential that's there by hooking up to multiple access ports. And one of the things that makes that possible is the MegaFlow Speed Kit. The vacuum tree with the valves on it, the recovery that has the board and gauges on it, the hoses, whatever hose and configuration you want. What I like about the Appion hoses really is that they're real flexible. These things will turn down into a nice tight circle, and you can store them pretty easily. I store mine in tubes, in PVC tubes, keep contamination out. but they're just nice. They're good engineered, and they're engineered for vacuum. You know, they're not just rebranding a hose that was built for pressure and saying it's built for vacuum. They're actually building it for vacuum. You know, Dave says that, you know, half inch plus half inch plus half inch equals 10 times. And what he means is, you know, by using half inch hoses, you can increase your evacuation times or decrease your evacuation times by tenfold. And that's true. It's all about speed. It's all about the speed and the deepest vacuum you can get in the shortest amount of time. You know, clean, dry, and tight. Do it fast. Get it done. One thing that I haven't mentioned yet on your oil, whatever pump you're using, if you upgrade to half-inch hoses or even 3/8 hoses all the way through, then if you're pulling a vacuum 10 times faster, your oil is going to get contaminated 10 times faster. So what you're going to find is you'll have to change your oil more often, probably. That's just something to keep in mind, because the oil may become the you know, it absorbs the moisture and gets the dirt and stuff. So just remember, you're doing everything 10 times faster, including degrading your oil. You know, we've been through the kit, the tools, tips, tricks, pump downs, speed test. If you have any questions, send me an email or PM, comment, whatever. I'm going to try and get a lot of these resources posted up at HVAC ProTech in a single spot, like the deep vacuum graph and my notes on review of vacuum for service engineers and things like that. Of course, we'll post the videos there as well, but they're going to be on YouTube for everybody to see. You know, I hope I've helped. I hope you've learned something. I hope this translates into more money for you, whether you're a tech and you know, you get paid ticket time, or you're a tech and you get a pay raise because you know what you're doing, or as a company you're a service manager or business owner. You know, invest in systems like this. If you're supplying vacuum systems to your guys and you only give them 30 or 45 minutes to do a vacuum, you're killing them. They can't do it with 1/4-inch hoses. They can't. It's impossible. Get them these. They'll pay for themselves. They will pay for themselves. In the first two or three service calls your guys use them on, or if you're a tech, you use it on, it's going to pay for itself. Buy lots of oil, change it regularly, keep everything in tip-top shape, check your pump every month or so, or anytime you think it's going bad, hook the vacuum gauge directly up to it and test it. You should be able to achieve the pump rating and or the oil rating with your vacuum gauge hooked up right to it. So that's it from the Rat Shack. I'm the Rat. I'm going to get all these posted up, get the links on HVAC ProTech. Go there, hvacprotech.com, become a member, sign in, and there will be additional resources there for you concerning vacuum stuff. So I want to thank Dave Boyd from Appion, guys from JB who supply a lot of good vacuum stuff, HVAC ProTech, you know, people that have helped me along the way. Hopefully I've helped somebody there along the way. And you know, the #1 rule, clean, dry, and tight. And to get there, we use good pumps, good oils, and big ass hoses. See y'all on the flip side.